Let's do it.
That's
Martha,
true, you're right.
magenta?
I'm feeling happy. You're right.
Always feeling purple.
Feeling purple. Oh, I love that.
I love magenta in all caps.
Deep blue. I love that. Hey, I just want to, just real quick, we got a bunch of people on the Zoom right now. And I want to let anybody who's not used to the way Common Power does Zoom, part of the reason why we've got so many people here and why we've done such great work up to this point is because we actually prioritize these things. We like each other a lot and we like to show it to each other. So we're talking about malls right now.
That's a good intro, Charles. Thank you. For those of you who are new to this space and you learned from us in the last few days, even honestly, like months maybe, like, and you're just hearing about the work that we're doing, and you hope, we're excited to hope this through this evening.
Marie, you're breaking up a little bit, but I think we got the gist of it. Drop in the chat how you found out about us if this is your first time too. We'd like to hear that. We've got a lot to get to, a lot of specifics to get to about what we're planning to do in Georgia, what we know, what we don't know. And there's a lot there. The team has been planning as we've been waiting for news from Georgia. So, I mean, hats off in advance to the Fieldwork Plus team, Ben and Maria and Puya and Asha, Kylie, Victoria. They have been putting in a ton of work. Each of them has traveled multiple times over the past month and a half. I think your families are probably wondering where you've been, and some of your professors are maybe a little worried about you, but we appreciate the sacrifice for this work that we're doing, and the work that you just did over the past 3 days. When you see this, you're gonna be pretty shocked. Let's jump into it. Or maybe not shocked, because you know these people and their work.
Okay, so here's our agenda for today. Well, as Maria was saying before, we are going to give you some information, and that right there is what we know right now. And then we're going to go into a little bit of how we're going to do canvassing in runoffs in Georgia. It is going to look a little different from how we've done it in the past. So this is a little bit of a teaser to that. We have an interest form that's basically a sign-up form for the moment, and then also identifying who is going to be point on the ground and in this effort with us for the next 3 weeks. 3 weeks, oof. And then in the meantime, we also have remote GOTV canvassing. So we have phone banks. So we're going to go over some of the remote opportunities that we have currently, and then we're going to end with David. A lot of pressure there. So yeah, getting right into it. Up is Charles and Puya. What do we know right now?
Okay, so just so you all know, building relationships on the ground is tough work. I am pretty good at this. There's nobody better than Puya. Puya has chased down contacts for us in ways that you don't even want to know about, but he gets results. And we've got at least 4 different threads running in and through folks with the Warnock campaign, the Democratic Senate Campaign Committee, the Georgia Dems, Fair Fight. We're contact. I tweeted at them so that they knew we were ready to go. And we're getting a lot of good news from that. So Puya, you had a really good conversation with somebody who was on one of the campaigns in Georgia that we worked with, and they told you about a conversation they'd had with somebody who worked for the Dems in Georgia. I want to start with that because I want people to hear how folks are thinking of us as an organization in Georgia.
Yeah, absolutely. So I spoke with Hannah, who was a campaign manager for BWin. And she has been involved in Georgia politics for years and knows a lot of people in Warnock's name. And from the conversation that she has had with folks in that campaign and trying to introduce us as well to the campaign, she kind of gave me the overview of like what's happening on the ground essentially. And that was a conversation a couple of days ago. But to kind of summarize it, the DSCC, which is a Democratic Senate Campaign Committee, they are taking over essentially Warnock's team. And they did that in 2021 as well. So from her experience in 2020, when it was official that Warnock's campaign is going to run off with Ossoff, both of them, DSCC, they came in, they overtook whatever is happening, and they invested heavily in fieldwork. And that's what they're doing again. They came in, took over 2 days after it was official, investing heavily in fieldwork. And as Charles said, we are trying to reach the campaign through different avenues, and they know about us. And Hannah told me when she told about Common Power and the work that we do and how we came through for B and our capacity this runoff season, they were surprised and they were like, "Is this a Christmas miracle? Where are these people coming from?"
That's what she said exactly, right?
Yeah,
Is this a Christmas
exactly.
miracle?
They said, "Is this a Christmas miracle?" So they are thrilled to have us there. They're just getting started on field work, and as soon as they have their plans, they're ready to activate us.
That's great. That's really good. I just wanted to start with that because it's really important that you all know, they know who we are. They know the work that we've done. They understand our capacity. A couple other things they know. This is how we talk about ourselves. We come fully trained and led by team leads. We land on the ground and we follow the lead of that organization on the ground. We do not have our own plans. We do not think that we can do it better than them. That is the reason why we do work all around this country and why people welcome us time and time again, is because we show up like that. We don't ask for anything. We just want them to win. That's it. We also come with this top line mindset up here. Right under what we know right in front of you, it says 100% comfortable with 70% certainty. That is how we ask all of our volunteers to enter into this work, because it is so in motion. It is so in the moment. It is so different than what you know from maybe your regular life. I come from the corporate world, and politics was vastly different than me. There are long-term forecasts and there are plans that you put in place far in advance, and you work those plans, and you kind of have some certainty about high-level certainty about what you do and what you get out of things and how you measure things. Politics, especially right now in this kind of moment, in the eye of the storm, it is fully in motion, is being invented as it goes. You saw from the results of this election that it is literally unprecedented. Some of the smartest, best and brightest people could not tell you how this election was going to go. So in this moment, we ask our volunteers to be very comfortable 100% with not being totally certain. And that's tough, but that's what we do. That's how we are able to not pull our hair out and not go crazy as we wait and we prepare and we make plans with a little bit of certainty that we have. We know that we're going to Georgia. We are going to Georgia. I have been to Georgia dozens of times this year alone, doing work and preparing for work. And we're going to go again. I know that I'm probably going to be on the ground for 2 weeks straight. And I'm looking at this at the screen here, and I know that many of you are going to be with me for part of that time at least. And if you can't go, you're going to help do remote work from where you are. And if you can't do that, or maybe you can do all of it, you're going to help financially support some people who can go. And we're going to talk about that towards the end of this event. But we know we're going to go, and the window that we can go, the ideal window, is if everything we're saying is true. If we are in contact with, I am in contact with the ED of Fair Fight. We are in contact with campaigns who have won and lost in Georgia, and they are all saying that our work is valuable.
Grab
If
some
we're
wine
not,
for dinner, please.
that's a great idea. Actually, wine with dinner is a really good idea. If it's true that they really value us like that, what we're hearing is the shakeup and the remaking of the leadership. That means today is the first time that their teams met. And within the next 48 hours, ideally, they'll reach out to us and tell us when we need to be there. They'll say, can you come as soon as you can come? And I will tell them that we can come this week. That is what I'm going to tell them. Now, I know that all of you cannot come with me this week, but I know some of you can. And we are parsing out which of those people can go. We're reaching out to folks that we know of, and you're going to get to tell us in this form that we're going to show you here in a little bit that you can go earlier, you possibly with me as soon as this week. If that doesn't happen, we think that the last 2 weeks leading up to the election, we're going to be on the ground. Even if we hear nothing, let me not say that. We will hear something, and I will lead us to some tactical work. That could look like us all being in the same place, and it could look at us all being diffused across Atlanta or even Georgia, depending on what they need on the ground. But we'll talk about some of that more here in a minute. Anything else, Ben?
That's good. Here's the next one. What we don't know, and you kind of covered that. But is there anything else you want to go into more detail?
No, this is important to say, and maybe
Yes.
Puya, you can talk about this because this is some of the work that you did on the ground.
Hey, Charles, can I jump in for a quick second?
Maybe, man, but I'm really worried about your glasses. Is it?
Yeah, the
Yeah,
glasses
go ahead.
broke on the travel today, so I'm
My
down to
goodness,
like,
yeah. I just wanted to, how like people have like awkward things, and you got to call them out just to get them, just do away with them. And your glasses look really strange. I'm glad you're powering through, man. Anything for the cause.
They broke on the plane. Folks, I am 500 feet, and so is Charles and Larcy and Dr. Terry Scott. We're 500 feet from the Edmund Pettus Bridge in Selma, Alabama. That's where we are right now. And we're here because we have a really important event tomorrow with some partners that we have here. And those partners, they're passing the baton to us. That's what's going on. And that's part of what Common Power is about. So I want to mention that, but more importantly, Charles, I just want to say that I want to tell you that I don't see it as a weakness or a challenge in Common Power that we don't have everything nailed down. I see it as part of the grand adventure that is Common Power. This is the journey together. If folks want to go to a put together, polished organization that has the crews all set up for them, the crews and the flights all ready for them, then I don't think those exist actually. Okay, I don't think they exist.
I was going to say, where are the okay? When we're knocking on doors, they're not out there with us. But go ahead.
But we go because we have belief and faith and a record. All right. So to me, if you want to come and be part of the grand adventure with us, let's fucking go. That's the way I say it.
Okay, there we
All right.
go.
I just wanted to put that out there as an advocate to that, to all the people that have come to my lectures over time. This is about the journey together.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. And to your point about the history that we are feet away from right now, this is how we honor the people who are living in the state where we are so concerned about. For us, it is about control of the Senate, maybe, or it's about broader societal struggles for folks in Georgia. This is their everyday lives, and they're heartbroken by the losses, and they have to keep fighting. And the way we honor them is we actually move at their speed. That's what we do. And this is a state that the state we're in Alabama next to it, but Georgia, where we drove over from, there's so much history of civic engagement and specific battle for voting rights that we shouldn't tell them how to go at all, ever. Coming from where we're coming from. So I appreciate that reminder, David. Go ahead, Puya. Can you close up this part and just be very clear with people about the things that we do not know yet, that they're used to, maybe if they've traveled with us before?
Exactly, for sure. Yeah. So as far as said, there's a lot of ambiguity still present because our partner is trying to figure out what their plan is. They only got 4 weeks. That was part of the voter suppression bill that was passed, SB 202. They shortened the period between the election and the runoff. So they only got 4 weeks. So they're trying to move at a really fast pace, but we still don't know clearly which part of the state we're going to be in, which is probably the number one question you have in your mind. And specifically, which dates we are traveling and starting our travels. As soon as we get word from our partners that they're ready to have us, we are ready to go as well. But as Charles said, once again, we have to move at their pace. We cannot tell them how to win in Georgia. They know the best. So we're going to be patient and wait on them to clear their plans, but be ready to go whenever they are.
Yeah, just as an example, there was a high likelihood that we were going to end up in Savannah, actually, for the general election. And there was a lot of talk about that. a lot of swing voters over there we could pick up. Okay, let's go next.
Okay, Maria.
Well, we have something. So for those on, we have an FAQ on the ground overview that Ben and Puya put together. Thank you so much for doing that. And an interest form, and kind of going back to the last slide really quick, just to a thought of like how we don't know exactly when we're going to launch, but we do know that as soon as we're able to, this interest form is going to be so important. So as soon as you know, yes, I want to go to Georgia, fill out that interest form. It's already, you know, we'll put it in the chat in a second. But definitely it's going to be the way that we are going to know who's willing to go, when, and that's how we'll make sure to send out folks on the ground as soon as possible. So this is really the thing, like interest form is going to be the most important part that you can help us with, right? If you're ready to go, fill out the entrance form. We'll know from the back end. We'll start talking to people. We'll start sending emails. Everything's going to go really actually through the interest form. So that's going to be the most important part that you can help us with. And there's the interest form on the chat. The next thing we're going to talk about is actually there's going to be a page on our website. Ben?
Yeah, I'm gonna share screen. We're gonna like take you to like how you can find this form and this page. This is gonna be like kind of like a one-stop shop kind of thing. Okay, so I'm gonna start over. I'm gonna like Common Power .org Georgia runoffs, right? And it's gonna take you to this page right here. You can also find it under our fieldwork, and it is right there. Very, very clear, right? And then as Maria was saying, this is the interest form, and I'm just gonna open it if you want to take a look at what that looks like. So it's very quick. And then as Maria was saying, like this will be our initial step to get people started because we need to be ready whenever we're deployed. And then the FAQ is right here. Okay, so I'm gonna open up that too if you wanna continue on.
Yeah, this is important because we wanna make sure that we're all like, you know, we're gonna continue to update this as we start getting more answers to these questions that we put down here. It's important that, again, right, being 100% comfortable with 70% certainty, like we said, we don't know a lot of the answers to these questions at the moment, but we will be updating this document and letting folks know what's going on. And again, the easiest way to really know when you'll be able to go, what's the mission for you in terms of Georgia is through the interest form and this FAQ document that we'll be updating. And of course, through IO, we'll also be posting some stuff that it's important to keep up an eye out for. But that's what else is included in this FAQ, Ben?
There's just like general questions that people have, but then also I want to highlight training. So we do have orientation meetings between the 21st of November to the 2nd of December, specifically around how we are going to canvass in Georgia for the runoffs. And there are 2 dates as of now. We're going to add more as we confirm them moving forward, but the Zoom is the same for all dates. So if you know that you're ready to go right now, plan to show up for one of these 2 dates.
The first one is Monday, so the next Monday at 5 p.m. And these are already posted on the Common Power page, the Fieldwork calendar, and also on this specific Georgia page that we just showed you. And it will be on IO soon as well.
Exactly. I think I'm going to stop sharing screen. I think we can. I want to go into a little bit of a difference about how we are kind of running our trips versus how we've done them before. So if you've been on the canvassing trips with us, there's been like a set bounded time frame. Like we fly in on like say October 30th and we fly out on like November 4th, right? We are not going to do necessarily that model moving into runoffs because one, there's only like 3 weeks left. And so what we are going to do instead, and I'm going to attach this big caveat of like, depending on what our partners send us and how that's going to work. But we are thinking of having 2 launch dates every week. And as a volunteer, you are going to aim to meet a launch date. And that launch date, you will be inducted into our current canvassing efforts. You will be get materials, you have on the ground orientation, whatever else training or questions you might have can be answered on that first launch date. And then you will canvas day and day after that until you have to leave. We will still hold our daily debriefs if, whenever possible, but it's not going to be like everybody flies in on one day, everybody flies out on one day. It's going to be a little bit different. And if you have more questions or kind of like thinking about what that looks like, do attend an orientation. We will go into detail about all of that. We will spell out what that looks like, and we will answer any questions you have to the best of our abilities.
Yeah, no, for sure. The orientations are required only because this is such a specific effort, and we want to make sure that everyone understands kind of what they're getting themselves into. Kind of like the fieldwork, Intro to Common Power fieldwork ones, but definitely more structured around this idea that under this mindset that we are not going to be the only ones on the ground. So we got to figure out how we're going to function on the ground, make sure that everybody understands the value of us being, the different partner on the ground. And it's just going to be, an easy flowing orientation. Regardless of whether or not you've been to orientations with Common Power already for your trips, regardless of whether or not you've traveled with us, if you're going on these Georgia trips, you have to come to these orientations.
Yeah, let me say too that this is where we're going to have the most up-to-date information. So the very first one of these is going to look a certain way because it's going to be, what little information we have. And then as we get closer to election day, we're going to have more and more information. So even if you're thinking about it, I think it'd be good to come to these to just get information. Or if you're getting information for other people, we're going to know more and more about what it's like on the ground, especially as we send teams, how it's different from your usual volunteering.
Yeah,
Correct.
and I think we just have to adopt the mindset that our processes will evolve as we have more information, as we refine it as well, because it is something new, and it is because we're working with new information all the time. So maybe what you go through may not be what your friend goes through a week and a half later. So we just have to be prepared and ready for that.
That's great. Yep.
Okay.
Sure.
Kylie is also going to take over sharing screen now. So
Thank you, Kylie.
Yes, of course. And this slide is kind of just basically what we just talked about, but for visual learners. And then just to pull out specifically that we won't have like recommended flights because of the structure that we're talking about. So yeah. Oh, I think one thing on the last slide too that just to mention is that sponsorships will be available. Just to note that for everyone, we know that y'all have, so many people have taken time to travel with us, given their time, given their treasure. And so we just want everyone to know that there will be, options for that should you need it to travel with us.
Yeah, and just there's going to be a question in the entrance form.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Hold on one second.
Should we also, so one thing also note too that's a little bit different is that you're not going to have like state team leads that we usually do. We're going to have leads for this effort. And right now on the staff side, that is the Fieldwork Plus team generally, but also we've also tapped like certain volunteers to help with on the ground. Charles, you want to talk more about that?
Yeah, so yeah, we are, we're all hands on deck. So everyone at CP is focused on this, as everybody in the country should, as you all are. So staff is going to take the lead on this because we have to move so darn fast, and also we are creating the standards for this as we go. So we're going to take the leads, and we will have sub leads, and there are a few folks who have already thrown their hat in the ring for that. I know that Mary Ingram is texting me every single day, and I appreciate that. That is exactly how you get through to people when you want to help them, and I have a lot of respect for that. But Mary Ingram's going to be on the ground with me. That's one person I know I can count on who's going to be on the ground with me if they tell me they want me tomorrow. And there's some other folks who are who've got the bandwidth. And are capable of flying out with us that we are reaching out to. If you would like to be one of those people to help lead on the ground, please reach out and let us know, but fill out the form as the first step.
Okay, so in the meantime, right, the interest form is out, but there's already stuff that we can do. And if you've been kind of like keeping track of our fieldwork calendar, you've seen that Fair Fight phone banks have been up for a couple of days already. As of now, that is like our main, and I think quite only, remote opportunity. But we are hoping to get more from the campaign later, but right now it's Fair Fight. And as we were saying though, right, like within the next week or two, we are expecting quite a big jump in work and volume and all of that. That's why we're also asking if you have the time and would like to lead phone banks, which means in CP means that like, you know, the 30-minute community meeting beforehand and all of that, please do reach out to us. I believe Jessica Louie is on the call right now. If you want to speak more to like what a phone bank lead is and what they're expected to do, and how that's kind of like all structured.
Yeah, I could talk about it. So phone bank leads are basically, I mean, most of them are volunteers, but we have right now Bert Greenwood, Blossom from Action Academy, and like Gail, who was on the last trip from Georgia. But basically, these are really passionate volunteers who are going to help out with the phone banks, and that means hosting them, hosting the community check-ins that happen 30 minutes before a phone bank, where we can kind of all be in community together and get to know each other before we take action with our local partners. So right now we don't have a lot because, as everyone said, it's a really quick turnaround, but it's going to be, there's going to be a really big ramping up in the next couple of weeks. So we're going to have a lot more phone bank opportunities. And with that comes the need for more people to host those. So if anyone is interested, we would love to have you. Basically, I mean, it's fully your availability. You can reach out to Ben or me, and we'll just get you onboarded in that. And it's super simple, it's super easy. And honestly, like not even just being a phone bank lead, but if you guys have like an extra hour in the week, like every day there's a new phone bank opportunity. So if you just want to make a call, make 10 calls, like that's super helpful. And yeah, that's all I have to say about that.
Yes, Jessica Louie has been the lead on our remote opportunities since the beginning of midterms. Even before that a little bit, she's been running the whole show. So you're going to reach out to me and I'm going to pass her along to you. Pass you along to her. It's been a long ass day. But yeah, I think you get the idea.
Another one has been going to school at the same time, right? You're in school right now?
That's right.
That's what I'm talking about.
All right.
Are we ready for this? Or maybe we should stop.
Are we ready for
I feel like
this?
we should
ready
stop
for
for
David?
maybe if anyone has any, questions about anything that we've just gone over.
Let's do that first. Let's do that
Yeah.
first. Let me also say that I got while I was doing this, I texted some more contacts. They said that the DSCC is still sending a field management team. They're still on the way to Georgia. And they sent us some other information I'm going to forward to the team. But that's the latest, is that team is still on their way to Georgia from wherever they're pulling them from. And what I hear about this is that they basically, and they've got their stars around the country, and they kind of pull them back in and then send them over to Georgia. It's probably some people who also were there last cycle and helped Warnock win the last time. So that's the intelligence I've got to the minute. Let's take some questions. Are there questions in the chat here?
Steve asked about like overviewing, like get out the vote. And I think Puya answered really well, but sorry for using that acronym without explaining it first. Really, it's get out the vote. And so talking to voters so that that they know, that we've gone into a runoff, and then getting them to the polls.
Yeah, let me talk about that a little bit more. So there are actually two kind of distinct ways to get to talk to voters. One of them is persuasion, and that persuasion is kind of what people who haven't knocked on doors before imagine that it is it's really tough, and you're talking to people who are on the other side and trying to get them over, or more independents and trying to get them moved over to the Dem side. And all kinds of nightmares come from people thinking about that being the experience. when you're very, very close to the election and you're in a state where you know where your Democratic voters are, you're literally going to doors where you know they're going to vote our way, and you just need them to turn out. The biggest problem Dems have across any election is turnout for the people who they know agree with their candidate or their bill that they're trying to get or their law they're trying to have passed. So that's our number one priority. Our highest and best use is going to be talking to folks who already voted for Warnock and getting them to vote again, because there's usually a drop off in a runoff. So we are going to try to get those same exact people. Very easy messaging. You did it already. It's another election. Did you know that? You didn't? Okay, here's how you do the second one. In very rare occasions, and this is because Common Power has a reputation, we are asked to go and persuade, and those of you who are here have probably been following the news, but there's some exit polls are saying that it's white women and white people of a certain age and live in a certain part of Georgia that voted a certain way. And so it is possible that they get us to try to go to those folks and try to flip them our way, just because they know that we're that good and we've done that work before.
There's a couple more questions here in the chat, Charles. I think Puya might be able to answer this one. But do you know how the runoff will happen? Is it all to the polls on December 6th, or is there early voting?
Yeah, so there is early voting, and there's actually a lot of controversy around early voting for the runoff right now. So based on SB 202, the law that was passed, early voting starts on November 28th, and it goes all the way through December 2nd. And then there is the election day as well, December 6th. But that law gives the opportunity to counties to have early voting, so they could start on 26th of November. And then the Secretary of State office came out and said, no, counties cannot do that. So there is actually legal battle going on. Mark Elias is on it, and his group are trying to make sure that people have more time to vote. So yes, the short answer is that there is early voting. And there's also, they can request absentee voting as well, like to mail their ballots in, but that's not the focus of the campaign, either campaign, because of the short amount of time to request it, receive it, put it back in the mail, all of that. So they're really focusing on in-person voting.
Thank you, Puya. There's another one here. I'm not sure if anyone would know about this, but what's going on with the voter protection? Are they all staffed up? I remember I had GA volunteers from all of the state hotlines headed to Georgia in the last runoff, so I assume that will be true this time too. But want to be sure they'll be fully staffed.
I can't really answer that because I'm not part of the part of that phone bank or the hotline, but I assume they would invest heavily on it because it is a really good tool. And Georgia, I believe, is the only state alongside Louisiana, but they're not really having any runoff. So I would say whatever capacity they have would be focused in Georgia. So
yeah, we don't know, like, you know, as soon as our partner tells us what they want from us, but I assume that what we will be definitely focusing on mostly is to get out the vote.
And if those opportunities arise, we will share them.
Yeah. Thanks for that. Go ahead.
I can just say that the Democrats' National Voter Protection Hotline will be up and running. It's running all year round now. So there's
Thanks, Terry.
that hotline.
Terry, you work on that, right?
Yes, I do volunteer on
Yeah,
that.
thank you. Yeah, and they're yeah, that's right. They haven't stood down because they're helping cure ballots and stuff, or answer questions of voters
Right.
who are doing ballot curing. Yeah, so they're still going. Yep. Okay, more questions. Pop them up.
Sorry, there was one here I lost. Oh, someone's just requesting if we can add something around why this runoff is important, how it's related to. It says time between the election and runoff is a form of voter suppression, and they want information on why the runoff is important and why it's a form of voter suppression that is such a short amount of time. in case I
good.
need to explain it to somebody.
Yeah, we're gonna add that
Yeah.
to David's section. Put that on David's to-do list. Good. Another
Thanks,
question.
that's great. Let's see. Is there a need for poll workers in Georgia, Hayden? I'm sure there is,
Probably
Hayden.
not.
Oh no, okay, not.
Actually,
I-
out of
yeah.
the state people can be a poll
Right.
worker.
Mhm.
Actually, you have to be either resident of the county or the
County.
adjacent county
Oh,
That's
to
right.
be
I
a poll
forgot about
worker.
that.
So
Yep.
it's really
we can't
strict.
be.
We can be,
We
even
can't
if
help,
they need us.
sorry. Yeah, we're focusing on get out the vote here in this specific effort, but I'm sure that more opportunities will pop up and we'll let folks know if there is an opportunity for folks to support in different ways. Reminders of 2 more days of ballot queuing in Colorado. Thank you. Yeah, in Arizona as well. Wednesday's the last day for Arizona, so
Yeah. So real quick on that, if somebody wants to do work on that today, they go. That's on our fieldwork calendar as well. Arizona work and Colorado. That was a question.
Definitely Arizona. I'm not sure
Okay.
about.
We don't have Colorado. Okay.
Yeah,
Let's see if we
I
can get
posted
that.
something about Colorado and the IO. If anybody's interested, they are looking for people for the next 2 days. That's in the Bobert race.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. Thank you, Carrie. And not to, since you spoke up, has anyone talked to Carrie Kruger? We need Carrie Kruger with us in Georgia. I just want to say that out loud.
I believe Ben did, right? Ben, we reached out.
No, that was Puya. That's all
I
Puya.
reached
Oh,
out.
Puya.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. We're
ready to go,
sorry.
Kay, right?
I'm losing
Yeah,
confidence.
I'll talk with my boss about that. You know,
Okay.
on my paying job.
Okay, that's good. We got to do that's community quality control right here. We just ask it, just put people on the spot. Since you were brave enough to speak, thank you, Carrie. Carrie did some great work in Georgia. We'd love to have you back out again.
All right. I think folks are, there's a question about, is there a talking point around why this specific runoff is important, since we already got the Senate, and so folks are chiming in about why this is important. Thanks.
Good. David can give his 2 cents too, but I'm glad the community is helping with that.
And someone said, please give David some time.
They're like, we got it. We got the page. It's time for David now.
Yeah.
Oh my
You know
God.
what?
David, don't you got like an event next week? Like
David has so much time everywhere. He can wait a little bit. Plus, never mind. Are you ready, David? You ready to go? Okay. If you've got more questions, on a serious note, if you got more questions, you've got Ben's email address. You also can just email hello@commonpower.org. hello@commonpower.org if you just think of one later. If you haven't already, the best way to engage with this community live when there's no event going on is to go to commonpower.io. That is where we mobilize. That's where all of our teams organize for all the chips we took during the midterms. And as we get new information or we need something from the community, if we need it fast and we don't have time to set up an event or send a special email out, we go there first. So if you want to hear first about David's events, about changes to upcoming events, about new smaller things that are happening, join commonpower.io. All right. All right, David, let's do it.
Wait, one more question. Do they need to join the Georgia team on IO? You can, but you don't need to specifically to join.
We're going to be messaging the entire community on the Common Power home page for that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank
Great
you.
question. Great question.
All right, David, it's all yours.
We're
giving you some time, man. Sorry.
I appreciate that very much. But I'm happy just to float along here. Thank you all so much for your leadership and the work that you're all doing. The fieldwork team has been amazing. You all have been incredible. Makes me so proud and to be part of this organization. We mobilized in multiple states, and then we added 3 more this election. We added 3 more: Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Nevada. And we won a Senate race in Pennsylvania. We won a governor's race there. We won a Senate race in Nevada. We won a governor's race and passed a ballot in 2 ballot initiatives in Michigan. One for voting rights, which hasn't gotten much attention, but we'll introduce 9 days of early voting in person in Michigan. And also a second ballot initiative that creates constitutional legal protections for the right to an abortion in Michigan. So our work is incredibly important. It's monumental. It's why we're here. I want to say a couple quick things about why Georgia and Warnock are so important. We're at 50 seats right now in the US Senate. So the Dems will continue to hold the majority. And that is awesome. That is my top goal and hope for this election. We will get to confirm judges and much, much more. But 51 is better than 50 because it reduces the impact of any singular senator for right now. Okay. And there is always the possibility that someone like Lisa Murkowski might come over and vote with the Democrats to create a filibuster carve out for voting rights. She was the only Republican who supported the voting rights, John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act. You put her with Manchin, with the others, and maybe we get a filibuster carve out that gets around the filibuster. So 51 is better. It's much better. In 2024, second reason, in 2024, the Senate map is absolutely brutal for the Democrats. Absolutely brutal. There isn't an easy pickup anywhere, nowhere. And there are 3 devastatingly difficult seats to have to defend. Joe Manchin in West Virginia, there is a very good chance that we may end up knocking doors for Joe Manchin in West Virginia, because I don't think there's another Democrat that can win in West Virginia, whether you love him or not. The dude is a Democrat. He is. John Tester in Montana and Sherrod Brown in Ohio. Those folks are all in red states, and they're going to be very difficult to defend in 2024. So every seat above 50 that we have now helps for 2024. So on a pure strategic basis about what the Democrats and what our country can do moving forward, the reality is that 51 is much, much better than 50. It is much, much better than 50. But that's in the abstract. That's in the abstract, okay? The piece that really gets to me and that I want to communicate in the strongest of terms is that Reverend Raphael Warnock is not just any US Senator, okay? He is not just any US Senator. In my view, Reverend Raphael Warnock is the most important US Senator in the US Senate right now, okay? We've only had 11 Black US Senators in American history, 11. 11. And in the American South, the states that were formerly the Confederacy, they never elected a Black senator to one of the US Senate seats from those states on their first time. Those senators, no Black US senator ever got into the Senate in the Confederacy through an election. They got appointed. In Reconstruction, Tim Scott in South Carolina, they were appointed. Reverend Warnock won. He won. Okay? He won. And he beat a sitting incumbent senator. All right? For us to reelect him is a statement about who this country is and who we can become. It was just as important to reelect Barack Obama as it was to elect Barack Obama. It is just as important for us to reelect Raphael Warnock as it was to get him in there. We might even argue that it's actually more important because to take a step back would hurt even more. All right. Secondly, he is the leader of a body of work in the African-American freedom struggle that goes all the way back to enslavement. All right. He symbolizes and represents that. He is the minister at Dr. King and Dr. King's church, Ebenezer Baptist, from Father King to son Dr. Martin Luther Jr. King. He is the minister there. It is an incredibly symbolic leadership position. There is a very good likelihood that this is an inflection moment for Black political leadership in this country. Can we reelect Reverend Raphael Warnock in Georgia, in the state that has given us so much for the freedom struggle, so much? Can we help? Can we help? Well, my answer to that is, of course we can help. Of course we can help. The question is, will we? Will we? And it's going to take our time and it's going to take our treasure. So for all of you that are going to commit time to go, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. For all of you that are going to commit treasure to go, thank you, thank you, thank you. For everybody that can't go, but it's going to commit time on phone calls, postcards, thank you, thank you, thank you. You will never regret any of that. Ever, ever, ever. There are moments in time when we have a chance to make a difference, to help bend the arc of history. This is ours. This is ours, folks. This is what Common Power is set up for. This is why I'm here. This is why all of these colleagues are here. All right? We're here to do this. And let me just be very, very crass. If we don't fucking do this and we let Herschel Walker get into the US Senate, may we all answer for that. May we all answer for that. All right? We have a moment right now, a chance to make a difference. So we're going to do everything we can. And you know what? We as an organization, because of the support of so many of you, have been able to send volunteers out into the field this fall. So many. We've been able to support them, about $2,000 a clip to support them. And we have money to go to Georgia. So I'm not actually here to ask you for money. We're going to do this work. We're going to do this work because that's what we're set up to do. And your support has made it possible. If, however, you'd like to contribute to support us as a way to bend the arc of history, then we'd be honored to receive your support. Every $2,000 pays for a volunteer to travel, to fly, to knock doors. We knock so many doors, it gets to be crazy, the level of door knocking that we deliver as an organization. So we're gonna have it set up on our webpage to make a donation if you want to make a donation. But I want to be really clear. We're not hanging by a thread as an organization financially. We are in great shape because you all have supported us. We are in great shape. And also, there is a moment in time when delivering time and treasure is about wanting to be part of something. And so if you want to be part of something that you can't travel or time or treasure, then support us. That sounds really great. We want to send about 50 volunteers. That's $100,000. We'd be honored to have your support, but we're going anyway. We're going. No matter what.
We're going and people are coming with us. One of the things we didn't say is that our partnerships in some of these states that we've been working with are so good, and we're so connected and ready to go in Georgia that in 3 of the states, at least 3, we know of 3 right now, in 3 of the states, our contacts in those states are ready to send people from those states through us to go to Georgia. We've heard from Mission for Arizona that they want to send volunteers through us to go to Georgia. We've heard from the Nevada Assembly Dems that they want to come do work with us. They reached out, like they want to send people. One of the candidates there wants to come knock on doors with us in Georgia. And we've heard from our folks in South Carolina. And those aren't just, nice to have. Like, they're like, no, we really, really, really want to come. So that's the difference that CP makes. Now, we knew that we were going to send volunteers. We didn't know we were going to send volunteers from other organizations. This is a new gift that we've got right now.
If there's one thing if there was one person that could get elected, that we could help get elected this cycle, it's Reverend Warnock. All right. He's the person that I would put at the top of the list. This is a gift to us to get another shot at it, to get another run at this. We get to go for 2 weeks in Georgia and knock doors. Again, I told you, I'm 500 feet from the Edmund Pettus Bridge in Selma. When John Lewis spoke here in 2015 on the 50th anniversary of Selma, he said, if you would have told me when I was coming across this bridge with blood rolling down this bridge that I'd be introducing the first African-American president of the United States, I'd have said you're crazy. And that's what he did. President Obama. There is a not insignificant percentage of likelihood that the second Black president of the United States could be Reverend Raphael Warnock. We get to play a part in that. Don't know. All I know is we get a chance. So I'm so fired up. In fact, it's everything I can do to not be jumping up and down, but I'm trying to stay in the frame of the Zoom.
Yeah, and you don't want the glasses. to
Plus
fall
the
down.
glasses, the
Yeah.
glasses will fall
Yeah.
off. Okay.
Yeah.
So thank you all for the leadership. I'm on board. We're on board. Charles, how can people, if they want to provide some support, how can they do that?
It's on the donate page already. So go to the bottom of the donate page on our website. So as soon as you go to commonpower.org, there's a donate button in the top right. Very bottom of that page is where you can donate. Or if you already have access to our Act Blue, it's right there on our Act Blue page.
Next Monday, I'm going to be doing a lecture. It's called Democracy Still Here, How the Democrats Defied History and How We Can Win in Georgia. It's next Monday. You'll see it promoted through CP. I just put it up today on Eventbrite. Lots and lots of information about how we won this election and how we can win in Georgia. Let's go, folks.
Let's do it.
Woo!
Together, y'all. Further together. Let's do it.
Further
Thank
together.
you for
let's get it
coming. Thank you for coming.